I wanted to tell you about our wonderful cat Betty, who we adopted. It wasn't planned, but she was a street cat. I know, as beautiful as she is, she probably was owned, but later dumped when she was pregnant. Sadly, she was about to give birth in a couple of days and she had nowhere to go. So I said I would let her come to mine and she could give birth at my home. So here's Betty, and I'm going to tell you her story. It's extremely sad and we nearly lost her, and that's the whole reason why we decided to adopt her. She was an extremely friendly girl, and she really was ready to pop. We only had her for a day, and the next morning I woke up, I had a surprise, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Honestly, they were the most cutest, adorable, tiniest little babies I'd ever seen. So beautiful. I couldn't believe she'd done it in the night. Congratulations, Mama. Hi, well done. Hi. Hi, sweeties. You're so tiny. Wow. Well done, Mama. Hi. So beautiful. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi, babies. So I decided to get the bigger tent out for them so Mama Betty could have more space to feel comfortable. She's doing amazing. She fed them so well. Every hour, every time I come up and check, she was just right on them. I had the camera in there. I was watching them. It was all going so well. And she had a great appetite, very good appetite. The babies were putting on weight. You could see their little fluffy hair growing through because Mum was a fluff ball herself. So I knew these babies were going to be absolutely adorable. A few weeks had passed on and Mama Betty wasn't being herself. She started to push away the kittens, and I know that mums normally do this, but this was too young. They was only 4 weeks old and they just started to be weaned, so I knew there was something wrong with her. I decided to take her in for a checkup. Everything seemed fine. There was no problems with her feeding. There was no problems with infections. We thought that she was just maybe feeling a bit offish, considering the kittens may be suckling too much. But as time went on, I still didn't feel convinced that she was acting herself. She also didn't eat as much as she normally did, and she loved her food. I mean, this girl, she will eat, and she still does to this day, thanks God. Whilst all this was happening, I was trying to wean the kittens as quick as I could in case I needed to get them into a home on emergency place whilst Mama Betty was having more tests done. Sadly, as the days went on, she got worse and she started showing neurological signs, and then it instantly hit me. I could see neurological FIP, so she must have had the coronavirus starting, and then all of a sudden it turned into FIP. I knew that we didn't have much longer to wait. We had to start the medication, the treatment, the GS44, which is the liquid injections that would save her life. Because she was refusing to take food, I then had to give her under the skin fluids. I didn't want to leave her at the clinic, so I decided that I would do it myself at home with the veterinary advice, and I was giving her under the skin fluids, and I was also syringe feeding her food every couple of hours. Sadly, with FIP, when it affects the neurological system, it stops them from walking. As days went by, she was getting worse, but we had started the injections and she was starting to get her appetite back. So the neurological symptoms start to fade within 7 days after treatment, and then we have to continue with the vitamins and everything else. The test results came back and they showed that she definitely did have FIP. So we already knew that anyway, but we wanted to confirm so that we could start the treatment ASAP. It's important to try to keep your cat's appetite up when they have FIP. Even if they are getting fluids, you still need to try to give them that little bit extra. So we were feeding gastrointestinal recovery food, which is very, very tasty. They absolutely adore it, and it really helps build calories and give energy. You have to give injections for 84 days, and I remember doing this for the first time. Now, I've given injections before, but this was really, really horrible because the injection is quite painful. Not painful, but it stings as it goes in. So I remember just feeling so anxious and so sad for her reaction, but I knew that it was going to save her life. I continued supporting her to feed her because she couldn't stand. I would have to hold her up and help her eat. Although she was getting her appetite back, she still couldn't stand up on her own to eat. So this is what we did. It used to break my heart because I really was worried that she just wasn't going to make it. But every day we did see a little bit more improvement. As she was getting stronger, it was getting a little bit harder to give her the injections, and bearing in mind I had to do one every day. So my beautiful son would help me hold her whilst I would give the injection. We spent many dates together and I never left her side. She was always with me, and I just wanted her to make it and get stronger, and I knew that I would adopt her after all this. I managed to find homes for all her babies and I was so happy. When the last day of treatment came, we were celebrating and we decided to slowly introduce her to the others because she was going to stay, of course. And it didn't go too well, let's say. Betty definitely had her energy back and definitely had the fight in her. She has been one of the hardest cats I've had so far that I've had to introduce to my own cats. It took us nearly an extra 4 or 5 months before she actually accepted everybody. But here's a few clips of how it was when we were trying to introduce her. Exactly the same as what we're doing with Raven at the moment. She did make a full recovery, and it was so nice just to see her running around again, knowing that she couldn't walk and she was left almost totally paralysed from the FIP. Now, I want you to know that if there's anyone out there that needs support or guidance, please, you can contact me and I will try my best to lead you in the right direction. Please never give up on your cats if you have been diagnosed with FIP. There is a treatment plan, there is a course, and there is a life-saving medication now. Yes, it is a little bit costly, but it's all worth it in the end. It's been 4 months since Betty has been cleared from FIP, and this is her now sharing her food and getting on with the others. There's no more fights, there's no more hissing, there's no more spitting and beating each other up. I can say that they are finally a team, and I'm so pleased I decided to work with her.